Hey everyone, Dylan with the Smart Economy podcast. We're at day one of Permissionless III, and I'm joined by Jeremy Frank, the head of engineering at Autonomys.
Yes.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
So we were talking a little bit about, before we got recording, about your background, and we share something in common. We both live in the greater Colorado area.
Yeah.
So maybe you can share a little bit of your experience in how you got into crypto and blockchain, and I guess because Autonomys is at the intersection of AI and blockchain, maybe share just like your story arc of how you were involved in crypto, blockchain, how you got into AI, and maybe even a little bit about like what you think the Colorado blockchain scene is like.
Sure. So let's see, where did I get my? I was in TradFi for 15 years. I think we have a mutual connection that in Denver that I used to work with, and as that I was head of quantitative research at a investment firm. So I did a lot of quant stuff, and that was my first exposure to AI. Was like trying to build neural nets to do very simple things that were much easier to do without a neural net back in like 2010.
When it was machine learning?
It was machine learning, yeah. So that was fun, but we just did more regular statistics stuff, and it was kind of machine learning, but it certainly wasn't what we're seeing now. After a lot of time spent in the investment side, what I found that I loved was building software, and like building software that other people could use, not just our trade desk. Mm-hmm. And so I left that in 2018 and kind of slowly got into blockchain from a guy who was sitting next to me in the office, like a shared workspace. That was like, hey, can you look at this? I'm trying to code a smart contract. And I was like, sure, I'll take a look. And kind of built a smart contract for him that sent money from me to him with no intermediary, and it just blew my mind. And so at that point, I just decided this is what I have to do. Launched a project with him, and that was kind of cool, crypto payments, invoicing type thing, and then wanted to get more knowledge of the protocols underlying the application layer, and so went on to Creditcoin and now at Autonomys, kind of building this infrastructure layer.
What was the network that you built your smart contract on? Was it Ethereum back then?
So this was during the complete boom in Ethereum, DeFi summer, and so gas was expensive. So it was actually Gnosis chain.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I have a special place for Gnosis chain in it was XDAI back then.
Yeah. There's Frederica Ernst is actually here from Gnosis Chain. You might be able to see her walking around. She's a co-founder.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what caught your eye with Autonomys? How did you end up collaborating with this team, and kind of what is the 30-second elevator pitch for what Autonomys is?
So Autonomys is this radically decentralized, using a very novel consensus mechanism that is instead of proof of work, where it's electricity and kind of wasteful, and proof of stake, where it kind of requires you to be some kind of wealthy. It's proof of archival storage. So what that practically gets you is, I can come with a hard drive and a crappy computer, and I can start participating in the network and earning just like a miner used to be able to do with a decent GPU on Ethereum. Mm-hmm. What that infrastructure, though, is, and this idea of the data is that goes into the blockchain becomes the fuel for consensus. And that means all of a sudden, instead of data being a burden to the chain, it's actually like the fuel for the chain.
Cool.
Which unlocks a whole lot of kind of fun things. And so that was kind of felt transformational, I guess, from where I had been prior.
Yeah, and when did Autonomys launch? When was
the company's been around for a while. We rebranded from Subspace a few months ago.
Okay.
We're about to launch mainnet, or phase 1 of our mainnet, in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Is there an incentivized program? Do you already have people lined up to begin participating in consensus?
Yeah, we just ended our incentivized testnet that had been running for about a year. And so we're tabulating all the incentives that have been earned and putting them into the chain spec. We actually just did right before this, did a live launch with our community of a testnet with all the rewards in the chain spec, and everybody can see. So we're really down to the kind of wire on getting the network launched.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what's the vertical that you're trying to reach out to with Autonomys? Are you trying to onboard applications?
Yeah, so we're a base layer. Say we're the foundation layer of AI 3.0, which is AI 1.0 was what I was talking about. I used to do was machine learning. It was very passive. AI 2.0 is centralized. I think of it as the read-write, you know, if you can compare it to the Web 3. Now we're interactive, the generative AI. And AI 3.0 is taking that and decentralizing it and making it much more human-centric, not run by a couple of big corporations. And so what Autonomys is offering is kind of to be a foundation layer for this. Two things AI needs in abundance: data and compute. And so we've got the data. I just was explaining how we kind of cover the data side. And then on the compute side, we're running we have a very modular ecosystem where we have layer 2s that do all of the execution. The consensus chain is only responsible for coming to consensus on the order of transactions. And so that layer 2, we call them domains. So I'm just going to call them domains.
Okay.
They can be anything. They can be customizable runtimes. And so this is where we're working with other projects and trying to onboard them to kind of use our layer 2 ecosystem for AI compute, like inference, training, data marketplaces, monetization.
So like my understanding for like the intersection of blockchain and AI is like decentralized compute farms, maybe like in Akash or something like that. Like I mentioned earlier, I haven't really delved too deeply into this world, so I'm very surface level. Where do you view like the current AI projects that are building blockchain ecosystems like Akash and the like? Are they competitors? Do you leverage their infrastructure for what you're trying to build?
It's kind of it's an interesting space to be in because I don't think they're competitors. I think those kind of projects, they could be on Autonomys, they could be on multiple chains, they can be we're really a base layer. And so what we're trying to do is facilitate the necessary tooling and things to make it easy for other projects to come on and start building on Autonomys and leveraging the kind of infinite data availability and then the decoupled kind of execution modular framework.
So you're head of engineering then, so you're trying to build the tools for the builders. You're not necessarily dealing with like somebody like me who might be the retail user of the results of these networks. So like your overview, your perspective is to build for the builders. What do the builders need? Are they seeing similar kind of issues of people coming from Web 2 to Web 3 and having to learn the pains of building on blockchain for the first time? Do they have a whole new subset of problems that need to be solved?
That's a great question. So one of the things we're working on right now, we call Auto Drive, which is like Dropbox for the blockchain, but it's really more, so it's going to have a UI where you could go drop whatever into it, but below that there's an SDK that anybody can be building on this and interfacing with the blockchain. And we've really tried to abstract away that there's even a blockchain there.
Awesome.
I mean, it's great there's a blockchain. I love blockchain, but like we don't think every developer needs to be understanding what's happening below that. And not only that, blockchains are slow. They can be expensive in different ways. And so we're trying to create a layer where if you're retrieving data, where it's going to be CDN-like performance. We're working very diligently right now on scaling the underlying infrastructure so you can upload a lot of data to the network quickly and cheaply. So
I'm kind of curious from where I'm sitting from the outside looking in. I've been in crypto since 2017, and kind of like the narrative since then was we really need to onboard the first billion users. And at Consensus this year, I went to a Theoric meetup, and I kind of had my mind blown listening to a panel of folks who were building in the AI blockchain space, where they said that maybe the first billion users are most likely not going to be mostly human.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be mostly comprised of agents. So where are we just in the general progression scheme of agents becoming a day-to-day part of our life, maybe like ChatGPT is today? How far away are we from having these decentralized autonomous agents kind of running our calendars and paying our bills for us?
I mean, it's getting closer every day.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've been working myself just as a side project on building agents and figuring out how they interact with the blockchain in a natural way, and it's super exciting. I knew where you were going to be going with the billion users. I agree with that thesis that the first billion users are going to be agents acting on our behalf. some specific things we're building to facilitate that is an identity framework that's really geared towards being able to identify humans, identify agents, identify the connection between them, and then do the typical identity stuff. Identify it, authenticate. The agent can say, yes, I am in fact this agent. I can cryptographically prove that to you.
Cool.
Authorize. So here's what my agent can do on my behalf. Can go out and mess with my calendar, but only for the next week, or only this calendar. So that being able to kind of more fine-grained do that, and then to hold up to accountability. So having some sort of traceability. So we think these are going to be important pieces of infrastructure for agents going forward. Is just facilitating that communication, that accountability.
Yeah, and so agents can't create bank accounts, but they can use wallets.
Yeah.
So is the future where when I spin up an agent and grant it permissions, it also creates a wallet on when it's born?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. It's going to have access to the funds that it's supposed to have access to, and blockchain just makes everything quite traceable.
Right.
But that same agent's going to need to go execute in the real world too, or off-chain. I say the real world, I mean off-chain. And so you have to be able to have an integrated system that's going to allow for all of this. I don't think I don't picture agents just being DeFi agents or prediction market agents. I picture basically everything that I don't want to do that can be automated will be, and things that I never would have thought could be automated are going to be now able to be automated.
Do you have any idea what that could be, or are we still just in the early days and we don't know what we don't know?
One thing I lack is creativity. I wish I had more creativity. So I can speculate, but
sure.
There's a million things. This is not the future, but the fun thing I'm working on right now is a content generator agent that's kind of this multi-agent system that say, hey, I need a tweet thread on whatever. And it can go out and do research. It can fact check itself. It can have reflection and grade. And I picture the next step of something like that is my email, because I hate email.
Yeah, I would love to have an agent just filter my spam for me.
You'd think that'd be already. I know superhuman. I test anyway. Don't talk about superhuman. Take that out.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess every day we use ChatGPT. Agents are on the forefront of what's going to be coming. What else is the average, not just blockchain user, but the average person, what are we not thinking about how AI is also going to become more of a part of our day-to-day lives? And where's the puck going? How are you guys skating there?
Sorry for the pause here, I'm thinking. So it's a hard question because I think it's going to be part of everything in our everyday lives. So it's everything I can think of. There's this.
Sure.
So I talk to my neighbors, and there's still a lot of denial that it's even there. I've got a doctor neighbor. He's a radiologist. This is a thing that he's a great guy, and I'm sure he's going to be a great radiologist. And there's going to be a lot of great radiologists, but certainly AI is going to improve, leverage. It's going to help them to be more efficient and probably more accurate. I code every day, and seeing what it's doing in coding is absolutely astounding. It's not, there's a lot of demos on Twitter of just whole projects getting built. I haven't seen anything like that, but the things I'm seeing just have made coding fun again. I can go from idea to something working and deployed in hours that would have taken weeks. And so if you just think about, that's where I live my life, is in code. If you think about where everybody lives their life, basically AI is going to be fully integrated. Yeah, it's hard to underestimate, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we kind of grasp the incoming wave.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to get what's happening with crypto and how blockchain is going to change the way that people interact with finances and things like that. And we're still only 15 years into this space.
Right.
So I guess kind of zooming out and wrapping up, you're looking for builders. So if anybody's listening to this, Jeremy, who do you want to talk to? Do you want to talk to open source devs who are interested in building these AI solutions? Are you looking for folks to come work with you at Autonomys? Who are you interested in hearing from?
Everybody. No, so we are always looking for developers to come work with us at Autonomys. We're looking for people with just crazy ideas that want somewhere to come and build. We'd love to talk about that crazy idea and see how we can facilitate it. EVM developers, we have an EVM, so I know you don't want to. You always have to be able to. I'm an EVM developer, so we have this abundance of data availability that's just built into the blockchain. It's not a burden; it's the fuel. And so, if you have a data-intensive application and you want to be building on a blockchain, I don't think there's a better place to be coming. So.
I love that tagline. It's not a burden, it's the fuel.
Yeah, I kind of made that up on the spot.
You guys should adopt that for your marketing strategy. Kind of like two questions to zoom out. You're a builder in the US. You've been building in blockchain and crypto for a couple of years. It's no surprise that we have a little bit of animosity towards our industry from the top. Does the ambiguity for regulations impact your outlook on the future of building within Autonomys? Or are you kind of impervious to what's happening at the legislative regulatory level?
I mean, no, I don't know that anybody's impervious. I'm in the US, and so we have leadership in the US. We're about to launch our chain. So, we have lots of discussions, and clarity would be a wonderful thing to have. So I don't know if I should publicly say much more.
No, that's a great response. And then lastly, we're at Permissionless III. We're about halfway through the first day, so maybe you've had a chance to overhear some conversations, have some conversations yourself, maybe talk to some of the booths. What's kind of like your main walkaway or takeaway from this event so far in your experience?
I got to be honest, you're my first walking in here today. So the first thing I did, I had work to do this morning. So, but I see at all the conferences I've been going to recently, obviously AI is being talked about, but there's a lot of cool other things happening too, with like restaking and AVS, and so I'm excited to see some of that. As much as I love the focus on AI, and I think I could spend all of my time there, I'm just excited to see like some of the other things that are happening in the ecosystem as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the time today, Jeremy.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah.
If you want to catch any of the other interviews we've had here at Permissionless, head over to the Neo News Today YouTube channel to see all the other video recordings.